To get a computer to do what you want, you have to cross a barrier. Engineers call this the friction layer, the necessary translation between human intent and machine execution. Over the last 50 years, the entire history of computing has been a relentless effort to make that barrier thinner. In the early days, that friction was incredibly high. To perform even a basic calculation, you had to learn the machine's exact language. You didn't ask a computer to do something. You coded specific instructions into a command line terminal, character by character. Then came the graphical user interface. Engineers like Bill Gates began wrapping complex code in visual metaphors, folders, files, and desktop icons. This shift moved computing away from memorized syntax and toward a system anyone could navigate by pointing and clicking. Eventually, that entire desktop layout was shrunk down to fit in our pockets. We took those software containers, made them touch-based, and called them apps. Suddenly, computing was accessible anywhere, heavily packaged into hundreds of little glowing squares. But a strange thing happened on the way to billions of users. Those apps became isolated silos. Today, to finish a single task, you have to jump between 5 different pieces of software, exporting data from one just to paste it into another. The apps themselves have become the new friction layer. When generative artificial intelligence arrived, the tech industry's immediate reaction was simply to bolt chatbots and copilots onto those existing applications. If you open a text editor or a spreadsheet today, you're likely to find a floating chat bubble aggressively asking how it can help you write your document. This approach treats AI like a fancy spell check, a subordinate feature trapped inside a legacy software box. It forces the intelligence to wait for a human user to open the app, click the menu, and type a prompt before it can actually do anything. At their 2026 Build conference, Microsoft acknowledged this bottleneck. Under Satya Nadella, the company realized that squeezing a massive large language model into a traditional drop-down menu restricts its operational power. To fix the workflow, they needed to destroy the app interface entirely. That realization is the foundation of Project Solara. To unlock the real productivity gains of artificial intelligence, the agent has to stop living inside the application. The agent has to become the operating system itself. Getting rid of apps requires a completely different kind of hardware. Microsoft couldn't rely on standard laptops and phones, so they partnered with semiconductor manufacturers like Qualcomm and MediaTek to build custom AI-native devices from the ground up. This diagram illustrates how the system bypasses traditional software through a chip-to-cloud architecture. On the left, you have a localized edge processor right on your device. On the right, you have a massive cloud computing node housing the main AI models. When you speak a command, you don't open an application. The local edge chip processes your voice instantly and routes that intent directly to the cloud. Notice how the entire app interface layer in the middle is completely bypassed. Up in the cloud, the AI accesses your enterprise systems, pulls the necessary data, and executes the workflow autonomously. The result loops straight back down to the edge node, delivering exactly what you asked for in real time. By removing the software application from the middle of this pipeline, Microsoft has stripped away the friction. Workers can now have a direct, instantaneous dialogue with their company's entire digital infrastructure. To execute this architecture in the real world, Microsoft revealed 2 distinct classes of physical reference devices designed to replace your computer and your smartphone. The first is designed for knowledge workers. Instead of a laptop and 2 monitors, office desks feature a sleek, fixed AI hub. It has no screen and no keyboard, acting solely as a localized note for the cloud agent. The second device targets people who don't sit at desks: nurses, warehouse staff, and retail floor workers. For them, Microsoft built a wearable AI badge, engineered specifically for highly mobile, hands-free environments. Both pieces of hardware are packed with advanced sensor arrays. Biometric authentication and constant presence detection mean the device knows exactly who is wearing it and where they are in the building. You never type a password, hit a login screen, or navigate menus to start working. These devices are already moving out of the laboratory. Major corporations, including Best Buy, CVS Health, and Target, have quietly started piloting this hardware in their actual retail and clinical operations. Whether you are analyzing spreadsheets at headquarters or checking inventory on a warehouse floor, The primary tool is no longer a graphical interface you click. It is an intelligent system that anticipates your context and executes your intent. Think about what it takes to compile a weekly sales report today. You pull raw data from a CRM, export it to a spreadsheet, format the charts, paste into a presentation deck, and finally attach that deck to an email. 5 software platforms for one task. Under Project Solara, you simply ask. A manager can walk down a hallway, speak the request into the open air, and never break stride. The complex, multi-step process is reduced to a single conversational command. Behind the scenes, the agent autonomously logs into the CRM, formats the numbers, builds the presentation, and routes it to the executive team. The systems still exist, but they talk directly to the AI, not to you. We have crossed a threshold. Artificial intelligence is no longer a passive tool waiting patiently on a desktop for you to use it. It is an active participant, independently coordinating your daily workflow. Microsoft's launch of Project Solara is a starting gun. It marks the moment global enterprise technology stops experimenting with isolated AI features and starts building comprehensive AI-native operating environments from the ground up. This diagram shows exactly how that transition will map out globally. Watch how these illuminated hubs expand across the network. Future corporate dominance will belong to the organizations that successfully hardwire intelligent automation straight into their physical infrastructure, outpacing everyone else. Companies that continue to force their employees through the friction of legacy software applications will find themselves moving too slowly. They will face severe, compounding disadvantages in operational efficiency and decision-making speed. The app dictated how we worked for 20 years, forcing us to navigate through software to reach our data. Project Solara moves that logic into the background, where a verbal command triggers the execution directly. The interface itself has finally become invisible.